moving on to discussion items. Interim Director's report.
I just wanted to share a couple things with you with I have a chance to do so. There's been some questions about our concessions, taking over the concessions down at the sports complex. I just want to report that we have a report in front of you that shows the profitability that has currently showed with over $11,000 in net revenue so far this year. And I think that in the future we may be able to do even more with some concessions at other locations.
Is equipment being tied into supplies? Where's that at?
Well, most of the equipment really was already there.
But the equipment point of sale, there's like some kind of point of sale.
The computer?
Yeah.
Rosemary, was the computer in this figure?
The computer is not in that figure, but the point of sale we already own.
Okay.
We just took and cloned our point of sale here to down there. The one thing we didn't do was connect it, so it's just standalone down there. So we already own it. So the only thing we really purchased.
We own the equipment and everything.
The only thing that we really purchased was a computer.
Okay. So that goes against how much was that?
The computer was, oh no. No, it was about $500.
Okay. I didn't know if it was sufficient to be on the stuff. All right, nice. Just wanted to-
But we'll certainly have a more detailed report at the end of the season for that.
Okay.
So I thought that was very positive. In terms of the Terra Lane property, the roof repair, roof replacement is scheduled to start in 2 weeks. So that should be underway.
And inside work.
And the inside repair in the water. And then just talking a little about Splash City and Arlington Greens. Arlington Greens had a fantastic month of June with over $140,000 in revenue. Last year it was about $110,000. So as a comparison, and from a Splash City standpoint, we're looking at the end of June about $181,000 in admissions revenue, and that's just admissions, so that doesn't count everything. We'll have a more detailed Splash City report at the next board meeting. It'll show where we're at on everything. And that's it. And I also, following up with what Mark said, I just want to thank you for the opportunity from the last few months. And it's been a great experience, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any questions on anything else going on? Everybody's really busy.
Hey, thanks, Rick. When does Splash City, is it Labor Day weekend?
Labor Day weekend, Labor Day, that Monday is the last day. We go to weekends after August 12th. We're at weekends only for the final 3 weeks.
Is that 'cause of school?
Yep. School, not only for people coming to the park, but also our guards that can't work.
Right, it's easy. They gotta be in school too, most of them. Okay, the next 3 discussion items I asked to be added just so we can just talk about brief updates. The debt management financial advisor, we've had a couple of options that we've been presented with. Mary King presented us with, Steve Nicholas presented us with some materials. A few of us met with her. She is we can bring her down here to meet with the full board. That's what we want to do. She'd be more than willing to come. She's kind of a, she handles bond sales, that type of thing. Underwriter. She's an underwriter. Thanks, Pete. And we also heard from, and we probably need to, I didn't realize till now that I've met with her twice, but we haven't had her here at a meeting, so we'll probably bring her down. I think that'd be good. And we've also met with Joy Howard a few months ago, or last month, who's an independent financial advisor. She works more on the retainer. And really, it would appear to me to be the difference between the 2 types of the way they're compensated. One's a financial advisor in the sense that, as I say, they have an hourly rate and kind of like an attorney, and as opposed to like what Mary and Jeff from Chicago, they take it's a percentage based on the amount of the debt and frequency, that type of thing. So it's presents with a couple options. But what I thought was interesting, both Mary Kane told us and what she can come down here and tell us in person, and what Joy said were basically about the same with respect to our 3 outstanding long-term bonds. The first one the 2004, there's an 04, 07, and 10. And both of them had the same opinion that we are somewhat restricted in what we can do with all three of them, and that we can't do anything. The first one we can do something on is 2004, and that would be something like December of next year. And Mary estimated that we'd save about $500,000 if we were to. Yeah, it was more, and that depends on the appraisal.
Based on today's numbers.
And that depends on the appraisal, yeah. So she estimated savings on that bond if we were to do something on it, like a refunding, or it would save about $500,000 over the life of that, of the repayment of that loan. And all the options we've considered with respect to all three have been not extending the debt, not extending the repayment period. So we're paying off what we owe, not more than we owe, and in the same amount of time as we are now. So that's kind of the option, that's kind of the scenario that we've kicked around with a few people that we met with.
Are those the only two?
Those are the only two we've done so far, but I just thought I'd put on the agenda so we can have a recap. I mean, if the board, if the feeling of the board is to bring Mary down, I'm sure she'd be happy to talk to us. If we want to go out, I mean, those are two different people. I mean, we can bring in somebody else, but I think at some point we're going to start to hear the same thing. And then we're going to be put to the decision of, okay, do we want to hire somebody like we would pay on an hourly basis just to advise us long term, or is it in our best interest financially just to do something else? Say go with somebody like Mary or somebody like Jeff from Chicago and say, you know, this is, we kind of know what we need to do, so let's just do it as cheap as we can when we need to do it. So, okay, in that case, if nobody has an objection, I'll ask Mary to come down if it's convenient for her for our regular meeting in 2 weeks, and then I guess from there we can see where we want to go.
That sounds good.
Okay. Forensic audit. I asked this item be added. We've kicked it around a little bit. And forensic is kind of a strong term. The idea is to bring in an accounting firm to perform an audit that goes beyond the scope of what our regular audit does. A regular audit is required for any unit of government that I think levies or receives over, what, $850,000 a year. And it's sort of limited in scope. It doesn't look at our financial, it looks at, make sure that we adhere to sound accounting practices, but doesn't necessarily give us, doesn't review to make sure everything's going okay. I mean, we've been here 20 years, and obviously I've been here 1 year, but to my knowledge in reviewing things, I don't know if it's something extensive like this has ever been done. But, so I just wanted to bring that up and hear your thoughts on it. And I mean, we're not going to vote on anything tonight, but I mean, I would like to, if the feeling of the board is something, this is the direction we should consider, I'd like to go ahead and ask Rick and then Terry when he comes in. Of course, Terry will have about 1 day on the job before our next meeting, but to maybe get the ball rolling on taking some bids, which doesn't require, to my knowledge, or require any money, just to take in some bids. What's the consensus
Yeah,
here?
I think it's a good idea. Go ahead and get some bids.
Okay.
I think it's probably we're not going to end up getting any bids until after the August meeting anyway.
Realistically.
August or September.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Yes, get going
Usually
now.
having your goal is by the August.
we'll be in a position to vote.
Okay.
We have bids so that we can get it moving along.
Okay.
That's a better idea.
Well, and I can work with Rick about, I mean, I went to one firm, actually went to 2 firms, whenever I wanted to just get a ballpark to put it in the budget a few months ago, and I can pass them on to Rick, and we can maybe find a third one so we can get some options here. So, okay. Then miners, there's not been much update here. We sent the letter by the end of that week, a couple weeks ago. The 11th. They're going to meet on the 11th. The foundation's going to meet on the 11th. And I suspect at that time they're probably going to take a vote or see how the feeling of that board is. But I mean, we had a conversation with Shelley after the last meeting. She's the vice president or vice chairman or whatever of the foundation, who's talked to us at every meeting about this and is very passionate about this. We also saw comments in the newspaper from Mr. Romanich, Mike Romanich, I think that's how you say his name, correct me if I'm wrong. He's the president of the board, and both seem to indicate that they, at least in their opinions of those 2 individuals, they are inclined to want it back. So we'll just have to wait and see how they vote. But we, you know, assuming they take a vote on the 11th, we ask for a response by the end of this calendar month. So, I mean, they don't necessarily have to give us an answer at their meeting on the 11th, but assuming they do, maybe we won't be in a position to do something at our meeting on the 17th. Cool.